Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 9th chapter, text number 5. Tamankam arudamapayayat sthanam. Tamankam arudamapayayat sthanam. Snehasnutam sasmitam ikshati mukham. Snehasnutam sasmitam ikshati mukham. Atruptamutsrujya javena sayayav. Atruptamutsrujya javena sayayav. Utsichyamane payasitu adishrite. Utsichyamane payasitu adishrite. Snehasnutam sasmitam ikshati mukham. Uptuptamutsrujya javena sayaya. Utsichyamane payasitu adishrite. Tamankamarudampayayat sthanam. Snehasnutam sasmitam ikshati mukham. Atrupta utsrujya javena sayayo. Utsichyamane payasitu adishrite. What is this? Tamankamarudamapayayat sthanam. Snehasmutam sasmitam ikshati mukham. Atruptya utsrujya javena sayaya. Utsichyamane payasitu adishrite. Tamankamarudamapayayat sthanam. Snehasnutam sasmitam ikshati mukham. Atruptya utsrujya javena sayaya. Utsichyamane payasita adishrite. Tham unto Krishna. Please repeat after me. Tham unto Krishna. Ankam arudham. Very affectionately allowing him to sit down on her lap. Apayayat. Allowed to drink. Sthanam. Her breast. Snehasnutam. Which was flowing with milk because of intense affection. Sasmitam ikshati mukham. Mother Yashoda was smiling and observing the smiling face of Krishna. Atruptam. Krishna was still not fully satisfied by drinking the milk. Utsrujya. Putting him aside. Javena. Very hastily. Sa. Mother Yashoda. Yayau. Left that place. Uchishamane payasi. Because of seeing that the milk was overflowing. 2. But. Adishrite. In the milk pan on the oven. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Please repeat after me. Mother Yashoda then embraced Krishna, allowing him to sit down on her lap, and began to look upon the face of the Lord with great love and affection. Because of her intense affection, milk was flowing from her breast. When she saw that the milk pan on the oven was boiling over, she immediately left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. Although the child was not yet fully satisfied with drinking the milk of his mother's breast. Purport. Everything in the household affairs of Mother Yashoda was meant for Krishna. Although Krishna was drinking the breast milk of Mother Yashoda, when she saw that the milk pan in the kitchen was overflowing, she had to take care of it immediately. And thus she left her son, who then became very angry, not having been fully satisfied with drinking the milk of her breast. Sometimes one must take care of more than one item of important business for the same purpose. Therefore, Mother Yashoda was not unjust when she left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. On the platform of love and affection, it is the duty of the devotee to do one thing first and other things later. The proper intuition by which to do this is given by Krishna. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Bhagavad Gita 10.10. In Krishna consciousness, everything is dynamic. Krishna guides the devotee in what to do first and what to do next on the platform of absolute truth. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Yakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyat Deshat Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gauravaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Once Srila Prabhupada was on a trip to Africa, He was visiting Nigeria and the surrounding, I think Kenya as well. Like definitely Nigeria and a few surrounding countries over there. So Prabhupada was actually very meticulous with all his planning, and how he coordinated. Can you imagine, in those days when making an international call was very expensive. Sending an international telegram was also very, very expensive, right? So there would be most of the correspondence is happening in letters, which take, you can imagine, 10 days, something, to reach. And you do all this coordination in that kind of environment. And Prabhupada is traveling, 14 times, in 8 or 10 years. Right. So on this trip, he had instructed his assistant, okay, here are all the things you need to do. Shrutakirti Prabhu was his assistant. So the plane takes off from Nigeria, it lands in Bombay. And as they were getting out, they went through immigration control. And then at the immigration control, they asked, where is your yellow fever card? Prabhupada said, I hope you kept the yellow fever card. Where is it? Shrutakirti is looking this way. Uh-oh. They did not, Prabhupada had clearly told him, but he had forgotten to get the yellow fever card. Then the immigration officer said, we have to quarantine you for 2 weeks. Right? And Shrutakirti tried to tell him, Swamiji is there, he has to go and all those things. They said, nothing doing, I will get into trouble. That time yellow fever was a major problem. And all it takes is one sick person who is in that phase when they are transmitting, and a mosquito bites him, then it'll just spread like wildfire. It's a very epidemic disease. And so they said, nothing doing, you have to get quarantined. And Shrutakirti Prabhu was very, very, he was scared to even look at Prabhupada's face. What do I do now? You can imagine all travel has been planned and everything, devotees are all waiting in the airport, they're all with garlands and they're doing big kirtan and all that. And now he's going to get quarantined for 2 weeks. And he looked at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was actually very calm on this thing. He just smilingly said, that's all right. We need the rest anyway. And then Prabhupada took that quarantine as an opportunity to get some extra rest and concentrate on his translation work. They immediately ordered for getting the dictaphone and everything, and they gave him a nice. And this place was like, it describes. There was a nice courtyard in the middle, and it was completely quarantined. You can't just go out, and you have to always be indoors and all that. But Prabhupada took good use of it, and he rested for some time, and they were doing translation. 10th day, he called Shrutakirti and said, I actually have a yellow fever card. It is in my Calcutta office, and this desk, open this, you will find that. Tell them to airmail it. And immediately the card came, and he left in the 11th day itself. They didn't wait for the 14 days to complete. Shrutakirti had to wait. Then he realized Prabhupada knew he had that card. Still, he decided to just go get along with this, and didn't make too much fuss about it. And he took it as Krishna's wish for him to, get some additional rest and more translation done. See, there are a few things for us to learn from this, and as Prabhupada is telling the purport of this verse as well. Right? Being meticulous and planned in our activities is a symbol of what? What is it? Sattva guna. Satvik. Now, if you react to the situation in a very, that's called rajasic. Or if you're in panic or confusion, what is that called? Ignorance, tamasic. Right? That's why in the Shastras, in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Yukta ahara viharascha. Right? Somebody who is very regulated in their activities. In fact, there are other verses in the Gita, I'll just read out a few, where Krishna is like, very, very particularly specifically saying about this. I'll just see. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.25, action done without concern for future outcome is in ignorance, tamoguna. Action done without concern for future outcome. It also describes that in the mode of goodness, action in the mode of goodness is correct action, as done properly. What is that? It should be done properly, at the proper time, and without attachment. Should be done at the proper time. It should be done properly, meaning the action should be done properly, systematically, should be done at the proper time, and it should be done without any attachment. Why is that the last thing is added, without attachment? If you expect results, it becomes rajasic, okay? And somebody else, Supremati, what did you say? We should leave the results on the Lord. But think of it in context of action, and work to do. You will make mistakes. If you're attached to it, you'll make mistakes. Okay? Correct. See what happens, our intelligence is limited. Now, if Krishna is trying to guide you, Bhagavad Gita, same, Prabhupada is quoting this verse now, what does he say? Dadami buddhi yogam tesham satadektayanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. Prabhupada is telling in the purport, for one who is a devotee of the Lord in the heart will guide you on what to do. And he is telling, he guided Yashodamai that this is what you should do. And that's what Prabhupada is telling. So, we have in our mind one thing that has to happen, and if you are very attached to the result, when things don't happen, because this material world, there are multiple reasons why things won't happen for your plan. Right? Why? Can you give some good examples why things won't happen for our plan? Karma. You might want, everybody wants to become Trump, president of this. Everybody wants to become Indra, everybody wants to become Brahma, but can everybody become Brahma? How many first rank holders can be there in a... Everybody wants to become Brahma, some only one will be there. Right? That karma will come in the way. But you see, One should that is where the detachment comes. You do your duty nicely, properly, systematically plan, systematically do, proper time you do. But then leave that, after doing your job to the fullest extent, then leave the result to Krishna. Most of the time, we won't plan, we won't do things. When something goes wrong, oh, Lord's wish. That is not Lord's wish. That is your foolishness. Lord is telling, Bhukto. You suffer. So hopefully you will learn your lesson from that. Right? That is where detachment is also necessary. And if the Lord wants to give you direction to do something different, you should be ready to listen. Right? Like in this case, Prabhupada so meticulously planned. Can you imagine 2 weeks of his schedule? If it has to be completely changed last minute, how much of disruption that will be? And Prabhupada, clearly this, I'm going to do this meeting, everything will be systematically planned for Prabhupada. But still he said, no. Even though he knew that he had a yellow card, yellow fever card in his this thing, he said, forget Krishna's wish. Otherwise this Shrutakirti would have bought me the thing. So let me go take some rest, because it was a very exhausting trip he had come from, and let me rejuvenate and do proper translation. It is very important to see Prabhupada's way of working. Prabhupada kept a very strict daily schedule. He explained his routine in an interview. Right? He was always allocating time for writing, chanting, managing, everything. Right? Never procrastinating. In an interview, he explained his routine. I write in the night. I get up at 12:30. I go to bed at 10:30. And I get up at 12:30. Then I finish my chanting. Then I begin dictating translations. In the morning, they will type it. Maybe only a few pages. But something is done daily. Little drops of water wear the stone. What's the old saying? Little drops of water keep falling, and the stone will get... Just you keep on, one drop only, you leave it. Put a stone underneath. Come back after 10 years, you'll see the stone will have a depression in it. Shape would have changed. Just one drop on a stone. That you can't even such a hard thing as a stone. But because, his secret was very simple. Sattvic diligence. Diligence means very consistent, persistent. In fact, in this world, if anybody in this world succeeds in doing anything, you will see that that person will be very systematic. Every day, little by little, little by little, little by little. Whether it's rain or shine, whether the situation is favorable, not favorable, Shitoshna, Sukha, Dukkha, that will happen. The world will praise you one day, world will say you are a useless fellow next day. That is nature of the world. When everything is going nice, nice. And something goes wrong, first thing, you didn't do your job properly. Right? That is the nature of this world. Nothing much can be done about that. But we cannot lose track of our commitment to our Guru and Krishna and how to act meticulously. So, what are these traits of sattvic diligence? Like how do you, this thing? So, there is a Chanakya Niti. I want to read one very nice verse. It says, Kala pachati bhutani, Kala samharate praja, Kala supteshu jagarti, Kalo hi Duratikramaha. Pachati. Bhutani. Kala, time ripens, matures all living beings. Kala samharate, and time destroys them. Kala supteshu jagarti. Time is awake even when you are asleep. Just because you are sleeping, time is not sleeping. Right? It's ticking away. In fact, the tamasic people who sleep a lot, time will just go. Right? And then time is duratikramaha, is insurmountable. Kala is a very, very powerful factor in one's life. Right? Most of us, we get, carried away. We don't understand the value of time till, there is no time left. Prabhupada used to tell one story. This actually happened, it seems. Prabhupada. There was one very rich businessman in Calcutta. And he was diagnosed with a terminal disease. Then he was telling his doctor, I'll give you lakhs of, those days lakhs of rupees is like, crores now, millions of dollars now. I'll give you lakhs of rupees. Just give me 2 months time. Get me 2 months time. Prabhupada said, you can't even get 1 moment back. Right? We don't understand the value of time till we are not left with anything much. And then we'll say, oh, what did I do? Why this thing? That is why one has to be very, very, just see how Prabhupada used to keep himself very busy. Please remember something. You have to serve Krishna or you have to serve Maya. There is no choice. There is nothing in between. So you can ask yourself, am I serving Krishna now? Otherwise, what are you doing? You are serving Maya. There is nothing in between. That's it. That is why one has to be, one should feel anxiety about time. Healthy fear should be there. Some anxiety should be there. About how do I make sure time is utilized meticulously for serving the mission of a spiritual master. The most important way we can do this is being very, very regulated in our habits. Suddenly you'll eat at 9 o'clock in the night or 10 o'clock in the night. How will you get up in the morning? Even if you eat at 8 o'clock in the night, how will you get up in the morning? You're eating some heavy stuff. Stomach needs time to digest. No? And then this thing is going, early morning, I'm feeling sleepy. Yeah, you will feel sleepy. It is no secret that you will feel sleepy in the morning. And, in this day and age, what is the most dangerous thing? And I always keep saying, 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, nothing good happens in this world. Till now, nobody has brought me some. Please come and tell me some good thing that happened. Only on Janmashtami day, the Lord was born after 9 o'clock. Other than that, nothing good happens after 9 o'clock. What is the biggest problem after 9 o'clock? Everybody knows. Everybody has gone through this. If you get attracted by some screen you look at, you won't even know when 9 o'clock becomes 11 o'clock, becomes 12 o'clock. The way these are designed, these are scientifically designed by very brainy scientists who know how to waste your time. Because why? When you are on their device, your time is their money. Somebody used to tell, Oh, YouTube is free, this is free, that is free. What is, how everything is free? Yeah, because you are the product. YouTube is not the product, you are the product. They are selling you. They are telling, if you want to target a South Indian Telugu person in Milpitas area who goes to temple, they know everything about you. Who drives this car? What do you, this thing? They'll say, yeah, here, take 10 people are there. Like, and advertisers will pay. So you are the product. And what good comes, or just imagine, at that moment, has anybody spent time doing this? At the end of it, you feel, so nice. At that moment, yes, it seems very, very nice. Your eyes are burning, still you will keep your eyes open and keep doing this. Your head is hurting, you're not slept. You know that in the morning you have to get up for Manglarti. No, today I'll escape. One day, holiday, one day, no problem. But you cannot take your eyes away. At that moment you might feel like this thing, but then what happens? Neither are you getting sleep. Right? Like losing, especially they say the time before midnight, between 9 and 12, the most important sleeping time. Every hour you sleep between 9 and 12 is equal to 2 hours of sleeping after 12 o'clock. Just think about that. How powerful that this thing is and how we can get carried away. Right? So, we have to remember this. There's another Chanakya Niti. It was very nice, Chanakya Pandit has so many, this thing is, where is that one? It says, do not delay even for a moment in executing a task. A moment's delay can cause the loss of that task. Right? Procrastination is another major challenge with all of us. Right? So, one has to learn, just if you're regulated, if you're this, then you will see, how the compounding effect of time. The effect is not seen today, tomorrow, like that. But over time, if you consistently keep doing something, you will get so good at it. You will get, so this thing. And at the end of it, you can reap huge rewards in the service of Guru and Krishna. There are a few other things in terms of, this thing. See what happens. Another important aspect is for the people who are all very well planned and all that. Or even Kala will bring some changes. You should anticipate, you should expect and anticipate changes. Now, when a change does happen, there is a sattvic way of reacting to it, there is a rajasic way of reacting to it, there is a tamasic way of reacting to it. Right? Now, again, nice theory, difficult to practice, especially if you are very well planned and all that. Suddenly something, because a systematic person who is planned, he can see the consequences of that action, like 10 steps forward. So then it even more, oh my God, what an impact this is going to have. Right? But the nature of this world is that things will go wrong. People will do mistakes. You also do mistakes. The mistake rate of somebody might be less and somebody might be more. How you become, they say paying attention to details. It's not at all by chance. Nothing happens by chance in this world. The only reason some people do very, very few mistakes, right, is only because they are very careful, they are very thorough, very planned. There's a plan A, plan B, and they're already implementing it. That is why the mistakes are less. It's not by fluke. It's never by fluke. There was once there were 3 fishes in a pond. And uh, the fish were inside. They saw one fisherman bringing the nets in the night. There was one fish who was very planned and this thing. He saw somebody with a net. He said, "Oh, this is danger. Tomorrow morning, they're going to cast the net. Let me escape." And immediately, he found a stream at the end of the pond and he escaped. The second fish was a little lazy. Kal like the king. Tomorrow only, night time, what they will do? Morning only they'll put. By morning I will. And then morning he gets up late. The net is already cast. And then he's struggling, jumping up and down. Right? And then suddenly gets a smart idea. Let me act dead. And so he acts dead and he flops over like that. And then the fishermen, they pick him up and say, "Oh, this is a dead fish, it will be rotten," and then they'll throw it back. Then he runs away. Third fish, he's like, "Oh, they can get." And then the net is cast, and then he cannot do. What happens? Tamasic person, when they're in a dangerous situation, they go into panic mode. They say deer in the headlights. See that? Have you noticed when suddenly something goes wrong and you're not at all prepared? What happens? You're frozen. You can't do anything. Inaction. And then he was nicely caught. They made a nice masala out of him. Ate him. So this is given to describe the three things. Right? A sattvic person, he knows consequences are there, action is there. What this guy is going to do? Let me plan and do my job. Right time, he escaped. Second fellow was lucky. He could have also mostly become fry. But he was very lucky, at least in the spur of the moment. But is that a nice situation? You don't know whether you're going to live or wrong. And then you are doing all these big dramas. So much of unnecessary time is wasted. Time and energy is wasted. Especially when we are in a community of people, not only you are wasting time, you are wasting everybody else's time. That is why it's not a good trait for a leader. Somebody is not planned, systematic in this thing. It is not a good trait for you, and it's not a good trait for others around you as well. Because of your laziness and your unplanned, you will cause so much trouble to others. Right? And the third, tamasic situation, because when it's when you get into this thing, you can't do anything. You will panic. Now, when things do go wrong, see, there is especially the systematically planned people. You have to remember something. Actually, there are a few people in this world, small percentage of mostly Kshatriyas, whose mind-body system is designed that when there's danger, there's a complicated situation, their brain works like zoop, instantly they'll get tuck, we should do. And then they don't panic. They don't get stressed. Nothing in fact, you perform at a very, very high level. Have you noticed sometime, offices also they'll do this, they'll put a deadline. Right? When there's a deadline, there's urgency, then a lot of work gets done. Right? And then but that is a very small percentage of people who can actually perform in stressful situations. They can perform really well. In fact, those people will induce stress for themselves so that they can perform better. Have you observed this? They actually do that. And this thing. So for example, I'll give you my own example. I perform super well when I'm stressed. Like my optimal performance is when I'm very stressed. My brain is working. I'm like. So when something goes wrong or something is this, I always think of the worst case scenario. The world will fall apart. And then what should I do if the world fall apart? You do for that. Then what happens if the world doesn't fall apart or a small thing happens, then you're fully prepared. That is why your error rate will be very, very less. But here's the problem. 99% of the people are not built like that. What will happen as soon as somebody is stressed? It is, it's scientifically proven, that the prefrontal cortex, which is where all the decision making and proper thinking happens, immediately shuts down, because your flight or fight hormone, you know, adrenaline is triggered, and immediately what happens? All the costly things are all shut down. This is very costly. Prefrontal cortex is a very expensive part of the brain. Shut down immediately. Only run or hide or run. Those are the only thing that is this thing. So people cannot use their intelligence. They cannot perform properly, and it is very painful for them. Stress is very painful for most people. For hours after that, they will be feeling very stressed, and it takes a lot of time for them to calm down and all. That is 99% of the people. So a person in stressful situation who is able to maintain their calm as well, those have become really true leaders, which is very difficult, right? Because for us devotees, we have to say, oh, this is the Lord's wish. We should be able to bring in some spiritual intelligence to, this thing. So, that's why it is said that acting sattvically and not being stressed and inducing stress in others is an important aspect of acting sattvically, because 99% of people are like that. I remembered one thing. This happened in Bangalore in 1997. I was in charge of maintenance, computers, construction, several things. And I was having a meeting with the project manager, and we were in the open air theatre area right there, in front of this thing. And then above us, we could hear they were doing pressure washing of the Gopuram. Those Gopurams, what they do is a team of people go down, they'll put on a harness, and they take a pressure washer, and they'll all be walking on that, that blue lights, there's a band, they'll stand on that and they'll be washing the Gopuram. Once a month we wash the Gopurams. Suddenly I heard a commotion. Hey, shock. That fellow who was pressure washing, he's holding that thing. Obviously there is water in that thing, and it's this thing, and the wire that was connected to it got shorted. And then he was like literally holding like this, and he was getting an electric shock. At that moment, how is it? Dadami Buddhiyogantam, Krishna says, right? I was in open air theatre. I know the exact MCB that controls the power to that location. I am the only person in the temple. Me and Madhupadu Prabhu, the only people, we have keys in our thread that can open any lock in Hare Krishna Hill. And so I ran I didn't look, I didn't see anything. I just literally ran. You have to go in that where all the counters are there. And behind Narasimha temple, Balaji temple on the side, there's a door with all the MCBs over there. Quickly opened the lock, the MCB, turned the MCB off. It took about 8 seconds or 9 seconds for me to literally I had to run about 300 feet, open a door, turn on the MCB. And till that guy, the time is going on, And then he just slumps off. And he's got that safety card, and so he's hanging from that. And then they took him out, and Krishna wanted him to live that day. And if anybody else was there also, nothing would have happened. Because, even if they would know, first of all, you have to know what to do. Then you have to know where to go. Then you have to know which MCB to turn off, that turns off you are doing something in Srinivas Govinda temple, and the light is turning off in that 40 feet, about 70 feet up in the air in some other place. Right? So like that person was saved. Then I was thinking, see, that's not that, Krishna wanted him to live. You can be an instrument in the Lord's hands to make that person live that day. But we put ourselves in Sattva Guna, the Lord will act through you. He can use you for, you know, for wonderful things, in the service of Guru and Krishna. So that is why one should be very careful and planned and systematic in their devotional life. Time is Krishna. If we respect his time, he will reciprocate us by giving us the right intuition for proper action. Okay? Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Bol Premanand.